everybody. So today I'm doing a special little editorial video on the channel, something I've been thinking about a lot and I just want to talk about and think will be a lot of fun. Obviously, I love romances and I love rom-coms. I cover them on Hallmarky's podcast. We cover everything that's coming out, whether it's feature films or on Hallmark or any of the streamers or whatever. And I really, really love the genre. I was really excited in 2022 because I thought maybe we were going to get to see the return of the rom-com and the big budget romance that I've been hoping for a long time. There was basically about 7 years where we got almost none. That Crazy Rich Asians was really the only big budget rom-com that we had for most of those 2010s. There wasn't many. And I really missed them and I really loved them. But it was definitely a genre that had been relegated completely to streaming. And it's such a shame because it's such a fun experience to watch a rom-com on the big screen. Unfortunately, I haven't really seen what I was hoping for when I saw Tickets to Paradise and The Lost City in 2022. I thought, oh, these are big name movie star projects with rom-com energy. And I thought they both did pretty well at the box office, and I enjoyed both of them. So it was like, oh, this really hopefully could get the studios to start thinking. And then last year, even though Barbie wasn't actually a rom-com, it had kind of rom-com energy. I was hopeful that the studios would be more interested in making projects that appealed to women and traditional femininity, and that would include romances and musicals. Unfortunately, we have not really seen that play out, at least this year. And I've been really frustrated because I think a lot of movies are being sold as rom-coms or at least sold as romances, and then they're under delivering in that front, or barely delivering in that front. And that's frustrating. I really, really, really would love a return of actual rom-coms, actual romances. And let's talk about some of the ones that particularly made me think of this. So we have The Fall Guy. Everybody knows I found this very disappointing. And part of the reason I found it disappointing is because it had been sold as a rom-com. And I was so looking forward to the chemistry between Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling. Unfortunately, they make the decision to have these two separated for almost the entire movie. They're barely together, and we get just these sort of meaningless action scenes after another. And that was so frustrating to me and so disappointing. And the thing that's so frustrating is that they have really awesome chemistry when they are allowed to be together. And this whole plot of him looking for this actor did nothing for their relationship. It did nothing to add to their banter or what I was looking for in the movie. It was totally meaningless. And that was extremely frustrating and very disappointing. And the next one I want to talk about is Fly Me to the Moon, a movie I did recommend and I did overall enjoy. Definitely marketed as a total rom-com, but I would say it barely classifies in this department. They do have a meet cute and they do have some banter and they have a kiss. A little bit. I would barely qualify. To me, Fly Me to the Moon qualifies as a rom-com if you consider Legally Blonde a rom-com. And I don't really consider Legally Blonde a rom-com. It has a romantic element, but it's mainly a comedy. I'd say that Fly Me to the Moon is mainly an historical comedy, historical movie. It's just like slightly more romantic than something like Hidden Figures. Not much. Most of the time that they're together is business talk. It's not about their relationship. It's not really about who they are as people or any kind of romantic banter. Most of the time it's about what they're going to be doing as far as the advertising and the NASA and other things like that. And so it's barely a rom-com, not much. And it was sold as being like a huge rom-com. The next one that was way less romantic than I thought it would be is Challengers, another film I did recommend. And this obviously is, kind of about this relationship between these three, the back and forth or whatever. But it was really sold on being this erotic spicy movie. And then you watch it and there's hardly anything that's spicy in the movie. I thought that was really disappointing. I always thought this was going to be something to set it apart. And it is a good movie when you're looking at it from a competitive standpoint. The tennis scenes, the competition between the three, very well done. But as far as the romance, I think it was all pretty undercooked. And especially if you're thinking of it as a queer romance story, that was way undercooked, and I could have used way more. And I mean, most of the movie, they're fully clothed the entire time. It's really not that sexy. And yeah, it's just disappointing on that level, in my opinion. Then the next one is Lisa Frankenstein. This is another movie that this is another movie I did recommend. I enjoyed it all together. I was kind of sold as this dark romance. But really, she's pining after this other guy for almost the entire movie. And so it makes the romantic kind of part of it like way undercooked and not very satisfying. I think that it does work in general more as like a character piece and the atmosphere and the style and things. I did recommend it, but not really as a romance. I wouldn't recommend it as a romance. And then the last one I want to talk about is that I think in the marketing, they really sold Twisters as a romance. And the chemistry between these two actors, Daisy Edgar Jones and Gwen Powell, in the press, in the promotions, and they really didn't deliver much on that front. In fact, they had a big kiss at the end that they took out. And evidently this was Spielberg's idea to take out the kiss, which is baffling. But yeah, I mean, there's just very little of actual like romance going on in Twisters. And I think it was kind of sold on that in addition to, of course, the Twisters. And then I would say, even though this is a series and not a movie, I would say you can count the last 2 seasons of Bridgerton in this camp, which is kind of crazy to say because you think that if anything was going to be like outright like romance, it would be Bridgerton. But Queen Charlotte was sold on this rom-com banter between the Queen and Charlotte. And the scene where she's trying to escape and they have this meet cute. And that's literally one of the only light rom-com scenes in the entire series. And that's what they sell it on. And then it ends up being this series with torture and abuse and marital strife. And I mean, it is heavy. And I was definitely not prepared for that with Queen Charlotte, that's for sure. And then in season 3, of course, it's sold on being this incredible romance between Colin and Penelope. And then they have this miserable wedding in episode 7, where they are barely talking to each other. And then he ends up on the sofa for the last 2 episodes. Baffling. How could they possibly think that that's what Bridgerton fans want? With the 3 seasons we've been following this couple, and we want their wedding to be sad, and we want him on the sofa for 2 episodes? It makes no sense. Like, what? I just will never understand that. The only example of like a true rom-com that was marketed as a rom-com that was successful, that I would say in the last 2 years, is Anyone But You. I actually didn't recommend the film because I thought that Sydney Sweeney was really bad in it, but at least it really is a rom-com. At least it had that banter. I mean, I think I might change my score because it feels like such an anomaly at this point. And the fact it did so well, shouldn't that say to the people in Hollywood that like people want sexy movies, people want movies that are these classic rom-com tropes, people want romances, like please give it to us. I mean, everything else that is what I would classify as like a actual rom-com has gone straight to streaming. You've got Red, White, and Royal Blue, you've got Xmas, you've got The Idea of You, you've got Hitman, Musica, all straight to streaming. And that's so frustrating to me. I think all of those movies with a little bit of creativity could have actually been hits. I certainly think Red, White, and Royal Blue could have been, but no, it goes straight to streaming. I don't know why. Uh, it's just so frustrating. And so we're still at this, even after, like I said, I thought in 2022, oh, this is going to be so exciting. We're going to see a lot more rom-coms after these two were real successful. It seemed like we're getting a renaissance, but really we're back to the same place that we were before. And we're in streaming land. And you know, what's frustrating is too, last year with The Little Mermaid, that's a movie that should have been sold on its rom-comness. That the relationship between Ariel and Eric in that movie was by far the strongest aspect of the film. Those two actors' chemistry and their dynamic and how they understood each other. They had the same interests. They were interested in quirky, collecting quirky things. Their dynamic together was by far the strongest part of the movie. They sell it on the absolute terrible CGI. They sell it on the underwhelming Ursula. All the stuff that like wasn't as good in that movie. I just don't understand. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I still feel like Hollywood believes that if a movie doesn't appeal to 17-year-old boys, then it's a lost cause. And I don't know why they feel that way, especially after Barbie was such a hit. Why aren't they making better films for women? Why aren't they trying to tap into that demographic, especially when you see the success of romance in publishing? I mean, it is basically saving publishing right now. The romance category in publishing is contributing to 2/3 of overall gains in adult fiction. The unit sales grew 40% in 2021. That is crazy. I mean, it is way more successful than any other genre. And the truth is that if you're a woman who loves romance, it is the only place to get unadulterated romance. Is from reading. I was just talking to my friend Anne about that. I was like, you kind of have to become a reader if you want romance, that's satisfying and that is romance with none of this BS in it. Then you have to be a reader because you're just not getting it. I mean, you get a little bit from streaming and from Hallmark, but that's about it. And why, when it is so successful, why wouldn't you want to tap into that? Why wouldn't you want to be making these stories? I don't understand. And why, when you do make them, why are they going straight to streaming? I don't get it. Please, somebody make it make sense to me. I just don't understand. And it's very frustrating. And I just feel like nobody is making the movies that I want to see right now. I just don't get it. I mean, please, somebody, please, somebody make these movies. I want to see them. I want to support them, but they're just not making these movies. And it's very frustrating to me. And the thing is I feel like they know that they're not making these movies because they're packaging them as if they are rom-coms, as if they are these romantic movies. And so then they get my excitement up. I think, oh, this is going to be so good. And I usually end up feeling disappointed because it's not the movie that they sold, even if I end up seeing like it was pretty good. Like it's not usually not good as a romance. So I don't know. I'm just feeling extremely frustrated right now. And I just wanted to say this. And I just want to say to Hollywood, please make movies for women. Please make romances and don't muck them up. Please. Ugh. But I don't know. It's very discouraging because I feel like if Bridgerton messes it up, is there any hope for anything? I don't know. But what do you think? Am I crazy with this? What's maybe something I'm missing? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section or on Twitter. And make sure you check out Hallmarkies podcast. We've got all the rom-com coverage over there. So I'd love your thoughts. And I would just love for you to check out that podcast. I'm really proud of it. And you can also check out my ranking of all the romances of 2023. And so that was fun, a little live stream that I did. So check that out. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And check out the merch store and the Patreon group. That's the biggest way you can support us. And we have watch alongs and we have our Facebook group. Please take a look at that. I would really appreciate it. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.